We live.
Boys,
10 p.m.
I'm thinking we're back.
Ladies, we're fucking
I'm
back.
thinking we're back. You know, I recall a stream last week, I think, where I said I'm pretty sure we're back. And
Hmm.
then I think that day is when it like we dumped a little bit. It was like the only day we dumped a little bit. I'm like, we're so back, guys. So
It's
fucking
gonna
back.
it's gonna take a lot of dumping to for us not to be back.
I fudded I fudded Froggy out of generational wealth bag of Solana that week.
I don't know, but the Bitcoin looks good today, man. Like obviously
Orange coin looking good.
ETH was
ETH
looking
catching up.
solid yesterday.
Vols are like where they just were though. Like vols are have fallen off
Yeah.
like from the top, which I think is wild, right? Like
Really?
let's just look at devol. It's like 58. Like yeah, we went from 30 to 58, but this is like where we've been all year. January, February, March was like
Ma-
875 or something. That's when I made
Marty
that
wants
bet
that
with Tolga.
70.
I need that
Mar-
70s back. Now, but if we get back into this 70, 80,
For the
I'm
euros,
content
that's
and
the
I'm happy.
26 Celsius.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't fucking know. I
Fucking
made
Euro
that up.
pores.
What's
But what's
up,
going on,
Marty?
guys?
Why? Why are numbers going up?
Mm, everybody on Twitter wants to say Gamma Squeeze this, Gamma Squeeze that. Options are
Gamma
still a small
D's.
part. Gamma D's nuts, and options are still a small player in the whole ecosystem. But with all this hopium on this ETF, it just seems like we're building ourselves up for failure, right? We were saying this at Ledger Prime PM last week on the Marty show, the Marty Premium show, and it was just like we could range vols here like 30 to 60, no problem, and price can do whatever. I'm all happy to have my spot bags go up, right? I'm all in for generational wealth and tomorrow Lambo, right? I told my wife Bitcoin was close to 40K, and she told me, so that means you're retiring soon, or we're retiring soon. And I said, babe, you can't just leave the crypto market that fast. Like
Yeah, it
I'm
doesn't
here
work
for a
like
whole
that.
nother cycle, and then I'm out.
There's no leaving. You'll find something to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, you're
I'll
never
just
gonna
trade.
really be out.
You'll be
Yeah, I'll
managing a
just.
guy who's managing your bots.
It's kind of where I'm at now.
You're just gonna hand the crown, pass down the crown. You're gonna move to a higher seat at the kingdom. Maybe
Yeah, I
you'll
think it's
live
time
up in
for
a
a ski
tower.
house. A ski house, bro. I'm just in for a ski house. That's my next toy.
I just
Okay.
need a bigger house. Everyone thinks I'm rich or something. They seem to forget that the NFT
I got a
market was
big
not
house.
kind
Yeah.
to
Well,
those
his
that
office
did
is in
not
his
sell.
kitchen. To be fair.
Dining room. It's in my dining
Ah,
room.
dining room. Dining room.
Yeah.
Mine's in the
Yeah. I
maid's
don't.
room that I
Yeah. I
converted
don't.
because I don't want
Yeah.
a
You see,
maid.
Marty has a maid room. I'm working out of my dining room. I have a corner
Yeah.
that's dedicated to me. My desk and everything. It's in the corner. They stay away from me. I block myself off with a green screen, and I
Dude,
have
you
my
just need a
clothes
shed,
inside.
bro. You just go to Home Depot and get that fucking shed, run an
There's some
Ethernet in
like,
the ground.
Yeah,
there's some
you, you
really
you joke, but I
affordable
did that to my
No,
garage.
options
I'm
I
for
not
ran
that.
joking,
Ethernet
dude. I
underground
would
to my
do that.
garage.
Yeah, of
Yeah, he's not
course. You
kidding.
have to run that wire
I have a
somehow.
finished basement. Like I could definitely like just be in my basement and be totally by myself. I could put up a wall if I wanted to on one side of it, make a little room. The problem is
Build the
there's
wall.
no sunlight there, and like I don't go outside as it is, so like I need the sun. And the way that my house is positioned, the only place that I get like good sunlight is in my son's room, in the dining room, or like in a part of my living room. Uh, so I'm left with very little options to like not completely become a you know internet
Goblin.
dwelling computer hunched goblin. Yes, precisely. um, yeah, hopefully I move this coming year. I feel like if Bripto keeps on keeping, then I'll be fine. Time to move.
Yeah, I just want to sell to Larry Finkel at the top.
Mm,
Like
Yeah.
hmm
that's kind of my play. I'll slang all the vol when the ETF launches or right around there. We'll see like the first week of flows. And if it's dead, then I'll just go down in history as the greatest vol seller of all time and then I'll fucking dip out. I'm gonna give myself the title and the belt. Nobody has to make it for me. I'll do it myself. It's like when you give yourself a nickname, you know, like you're just an asshole, right? So I want to be that guy.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
I gave myself the Philly B. Everyone always asks me if I gave myself like Coin Alchemist or Cozy or like what the reasoning. And
Well, I mean,
no,
for
I'm
your
happy with
pseudonym,
that.
that's a little different, right?
Yeah, I
You
guess
kind
it
of
would
have
be. I
to.
guess I could choose that, but I didn't choose either of those. They were both given to me.
Dude, there was a guy named VX Cozy playing in, don't get me wrong, guys, but Dubai or Saudi Arabia for a Street Fighter competition that was live, bro. And his name was VX Cozy. And I was like, yeah, but that's not the Cozy I know, you know? But he had the same name.
But what character was he playing?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
you
don't
know
know,
that.
dude. They fucking change all the time, you know?
Oh,
You know
okay.
that's my name across like every gaming platform, right?
Dude, it could have been you then, bro.
That's what I'm
You know?
saying. You had to tell me what character was he playing?
It might have been him, bro. His name was, but he was from like Hong Kong or something. So I was like, okay, well.
Well, I mean, you
I
don't
always
actually
like
know
watching those.
where VX Cozy is really from, do you?
Dude, I don't even need to know. I'm on a need to know basis, you know? I'm not running the show here. I'm just the guest.
So he's got a hell of a Hong Kong accent. DK,
A little thick.
give us some updates on this Arbitrum stuff going on. We spent a lot of time talking about the last few days, and it seems like
Yeah, I
some
mean,
of
we
it
might as
has
well
come
close it
to
out, dude, since it's the last
come to
day.
a close today. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Treasure.
Let's get into the. Okay, go ahead.
So Treasure. I mean, it's been going back and forth, and all the votes kind of end. I think at 14:30 UTC, 1500 UTC. So pretty soon here. And yeah, the consolidate the kind of like the service provider framework that I had been working on and I had proposed is, let's take a look. I think it's like 180 something million for, and like 460K against. So it's like 99.68 for. So I think it might pass in the next 20 minutes. I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling good. And to kind of give more behind the scenes, but so Joseph, a mutable lawyer, one of the community members within the Arbitrum ecosystem, and I have been chatting with a bunch of auditors, security service providers, some in traditional, just like regular conversation of like, hey, this is how we're doing it. We'll just keep you informed. And some of them have, some concerns and, just some maybe not recommendations, but we had just been like, is there anything we're missing as part of like a request for proposal type of process? And it's as Joseph has rightly pointed out, it's more of like a procurement process, right? Because we're not actually like picking winners and losers. We're just kind of facilitating services as like, the payment process, the ongoing audit that's happening, the making sure that the service agreement is adequately done by all parties. That's going to be more of the process than an actual like RFP process, but nonetheless, so just kind of meeting with them and making sure that we're covering all our bases. We're putting that up to a open consultation period starting today. So I think that should be up in the next like hour or two after the proposal's done. But we have been essentially working behind the scenes with the intention that the proposal is going to pass so that we can continue to move fast on this, right? So we'll do a 7-day open consultation period where anyone that we have not been in direct communication with can then come in and say, hey, this is the kind of bare bones application framework that we're looking at. Is there anything that you would change here from a service provider perspective? And so then we kind of spoke with the foundation. The foundation has agreed to kind of cover some of the costs associated with like KYB and whatnot. And so we can kind of start moving with at least the service provider onboarding, probably mid-month towards the end of month. And then on the funding side of things and the like project selection of like who actually gets these grants to spend on audits for their own projects. I haven't really even thought about that. Kind of going through another mechanism through some other delegates that are kind of running point on that, and then hopefully we kind of converge, towards end of month, where I'm focusing on bringing in service providers and vendors, and they're working more on the funding and selection criteria, and then hopefully we converge at the same time. So we got like multiple work streams in parallel. So that's looking good. And then the other kind of proposal.
I got a question there. This is only for auditing, right? This is grants for auditing in the Arbitrum
for now,
ecosystem, right?
Yes, correct. So the
That's
immediate
a lot of big
remit,
words, just breaking it down.
yeah, the immediate remit is for security services that include either a traditional transactional, like private audit, which is between a project and a group of auditors. Sometimes it's, 2 researchers on their end. Sometimes it's 4 researchers. Sometimes it takes 8 weeks. Sometimes it takes 4 weeks based on availability, resourcing, costing, whatever. But essentially it's a private audit where they look over your code base. And then the competitive audits, which is the Code for Arenas, the Sherlocks, the Code Hawks, where you typically pre-launch. So it's not like, anything can be exploited in prod, but pre-launch, you have a group of individuals that, based on the number of exploits that are found, you get a payout as an individual. So then you can get a lot of eyes looking at a project, which is, the competitive audits work really well. But they don't work if you're already in production, because then you're just asking a bunch of people to look at your code. They do private competitive audits, but nonetheless, so those are the 2 like immediate focuses.
Yeah.
And because we just kind of restricted down our remit for the purpose of just the speed and execution. However, like my grander vision is a wider, this is like this whole roundtable thing that I was kind of pushing beforehand, but it kind of got pushed to the side for now. But it's essentially all this different types of services that a project may need. And that includes oracles, like infrastructure cost, RPC costs. That includes data providers. That includes like market making services. There's like a whole bunch of different services that you need to be a successful project in blockchain, and especially on a layer 2. And so like auditing is obviously the most critical, and the last thing we want is projects, launching with poor quality audits or non-existent audits, and then people thinking that they're safe. We had one that was exploited that kind of didn't have the funding to do a proper audit, so they kind of went like the cheaper route with some some freelance guys. I'm not entirely sure how they did it, but they made some.
Those guys hacked them.
Could be.
Oh man,
they made
when shit like that happens and they cheap out. Come on, guys.
Like I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but there are a few things that went wrong in that engagement, and it wasn't, specific, I think, to funding per se, but that was one of the main factors. So we don't want people to start launching projects at Arbitrum, and then people are like, all the projects in Arbitrum are not safe. So like, that's one thing that we want to get ahead of. And there was one that was exploited earlier this week, so it just kind of lit a fire underneath us. So that's that. I would like to stand up 2 kind of working groups. One is to continue to choose the product like vertical. So like I said, market makers, oracles, whatever, to continue to on a bi-weekly basis or something, kind of change the focus and start having discussions, and then, continue to move through this process so that we can then once the process is in like a onboarding framework is in good place, then we can move on to the next product type, and then kind of hand that off to like a procurement group that then administers this. And there's going to be a bunch of questions, I think, on the service provider side just during onboarding. So like, it's good to get that stood up and get that moving, because that's going to take a little bit of time. And then once we have that in place, then the funding side of things can move relatively quickly. So that's the short on my stuff. And then the coalition vote is also closing in, I think, about 40 minutes, but that doesn't look like it's going to pass in its current shape. So I think that just is more reason that we need to get this service provider RFP framework right. Because naturally, I think that people are going to be like, okay, well, the next logical progression of instead of having fixed service providers is to have an open service provider framework.
Yeah, and like, how do you then fill the gaps that the other service providers that weren't covering security would fill, in the new proposed framework? I guess would be probably a question that people have.
Yeah, economic auditors, research. But yeah, it doesn't. I don't know. I think there's still discussions on like, what's the next steps for like the coalition type of initiative? Who knows? And then the other thing is the backfund STIP, but that still has like 4 days left, so who knows what goes on with that. But right now it's overwhelmingly 4. It's like 24 million 4. But I'm unsure of if, at the rate that they're going, they'll probably reach quorum. And then maybe if we reach quorum, then we'll see some of the people come out of the woodwork that are not for this. But right now, I think that all the people that are kind of against it are ignoring it, so it doesn't hit quorum.
Now, the backfunding one would include the projects that made quorum for STIP by increasing the allocated amount to 75 million from 50 million. Is that correct?
Yeah, roughly. I think 21, so 71. But yeah.
71. And then they would all be included. And this is to, I guess, would this be to avoid a STIP round 2? Or if this were to pass, do you think that there's still a possibility that people are going to lobby for a round 2 STIP?
Someone's going to definitely lobby for a round 2 STIP. But my opinion is we should wrap into one, the round 2, as well as the ones that were not included in round 1. But the issue that the delegates are having now is, do they want to go through another 100 proposals in like a 1 to 2 week time frame? Right. That's
up to you. You're the leader now. That's what I'm told. You're the delegator. You're the delegator.
I'm not.
The unwritten rule, right, DK? Like, if whether you are CEO or not, if enough people call you CEO and they respect you as CEO, then who's the CEO?
By far not the CEO.
It takes Horny. He's the CEO, you know?
Yeah.
I get it. I get what we say with Horny. Horny is in fact the CEO, especially if there are any outside 3-letter agencies that are looking for the CEO. It's definitely Horny.
Definitely be Horny.
Yep, definitely be Horny. I can send you his private address and name if you need it.
We did this at Urbit a long time ago. We memed one of their, like, I don't even know if he was the CTO. He may have been the CTO of like Talon at the time, or was working on the design team. But he was really well respected in the early days. So we memed him to being the CTO. That's what it was. And our reasoning was, if everyone respects you as the CTO and they call you the CTO, then who's really the CTO, right? And it ruffled some feathers initially, but they thought it was funny by the end.
Yeah, all those people, the 3 letters, all 3-letter things are pretty bad, like the agencies, the C letter, ass is a good one. So I'm sorry, but
ass, GIF.
Shit.
Okay, so we've got that covers RFP, coalition, backfunding, and then there's also a staking one. What is kind of the general consensus? What's that looking like? Because it seems like there's pretty split feelings on the staking proposal.
I don't know. I think they're spending a few days in reflection, and because that one got the most media attention, whether it be correct or incorrect media attention, a lot of media said that it was like a go, right? Like it was done, it was gonna happen. But there's a lot more that needs to go on behind the scenes before that kind of gets pushed forward. Like
it's on Snapshot, it's going.
There's like no smart contracts. There's like nothing, right? It's still like
Snapshot
months
vote.
away
It's
from
live,
happening.
boys.
Yeah, and so all the media outlets were like, staking on Arbitrum is a go. Like it's gonna happen tomorrow. No, yeah, that just still. I think they're kind of figuring out. Plutus is kind of leading that, and so I think they're kind of working out now. Like, okay, let's look at the economics more in detail. Let's look at like who would be doing the shared ownership of the smart contracts. There's like a lot that needs to go into it right now. I think we're still very at least 3 to 6 months probably until we have something like this.
And outside of kind of being a sync, like what are the other uses that are kind of being proposed for this staking module or feature?
Say again?
However, there. What are the proposed uses for like the Arbitrum staking? Like,
Good question.
for many, networks, it's to secure the network, it's to secure a node, it's to, there's usually some type of security angle that's being played, or governance angle that's being played when you bring staking into the mix. So, like, what is kind of the thesis for why Arbitrum needs staking that's been put forward thus far?
You're gonna make me what's it called? Strongman? That's what the term is called, right? Strongman.
I'm not trying to. I literally have no idea. The staking one I hadn't followed really at all. I was more interested in like the RFP coalition stuff, and I was like doing a lot of research into like what Blockworks has done in the past, like who they are outside of the name that I see at all the conferences. Uh, Looking more into like I spent a good amount of time looking into who the service providers were. So the staking thing, I got to be honest, I wasn't like really taking too seriously, and then I saw a lot of public attention on it. So yeah, definitely not trying to strongman you into giving any kind of specific response. I'm more just wondering, like, what the talks have been, what kind of the idea behind introducing staking is. You said Plutus is leading it, so that kind of makes sense. Their protocol is governance vacuum, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't think personally that it makes sense in its current shape, because in its current shape, it was mostly a voting escrow model for Arbitrum, right? And whether or not it was funded from the 3 billion that exists in the DAO like ecosystem fund, or if we create a 2% inflation, was still up in the air. However, I think that like in principle, I am of the opinion that there are plenty of ways that you can use your Arbitrum tokens today on Arbitrum to generate yield, to lend against, to like tons of things, right? You can use them on our platform and sell covered calls against them. And so I don't think that there's a need for another option where if you lock your tokens up for longer, then you receive more Arbitrum, right? Just like an emission. I think that something like that would make more sense if you got sequencer fees, right? And so like the sequencer fees actually go to the DAO. So I think they have something like 2,000 ETH or something already in there, 1,200 ETH or something. So like getting paid in Arbitrum doesn't make sense, but maybe getting paid in the sequencer fees that are being accrued there makes sense. And so then you get this like, this mechanism that kind of makes more sense to me. But other than that, the argument is, to bring additional utility to holding the Arbitrum tokens. And I think that there's plenty of utility within the project ecosystem. So,
but don't you feel like it's just another tool in the toolbox? Like it's just another instrument to trade or to lock up your tokens. It's just another option. It's not like we don't need it.
Let's say
it might be stupid to have it, but you don't have to have it.
I could say this, like in a argument for it. Let's say that you are, you want exposure to Arbitrum. You want to, you're extremely bullish on, Arbitrum as a long-term investment, but you don't want to be exposed to any other third-party protocol risk. Yet you would like a way to, earn more Arbitrum. So in those cases where
okay, yeah, I mean, I'll do the Steelman.
Risk averse.
Steelman was the term. Okay, so the Steelman being that natively, the Arbitrum ecosystem has a functionality in which that you can utilize your Arbitrum for long-term, like directional bias, like long-term synergy. And the voting escrow model has showed to be, pretty good in that regard. And then also, I'm not saying this would happen, but another thing that you could do is you have maybe additional voting power by locking up. So that you're continue to get paid in the Arbitrum token, in which that you have long-term alignment with. You're obviously taking that supply off the market. And so like from that perspective, makes sense, right? And you don't want to take that third-party risk. You have something that is maybe perceived as less risky from like a smart contract risk, and you get to align yourself with the ethos of the Arbitrum ecosystem.
You're a purist, an Arbitrum purist.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I'll give you another argument. We talked about this briefly last week, but for someone like me, right, who's like really interested in being, pretty involved, but did not take the time to lobby to be a delegate in the beginning, it's very, very difficult to get existing delegated votes to switch to someone else. It's also very hard on the economic side to acquire enough influence to be considered, a respected or serious player in Arbitrum. So allowing a model in which I can earn more Arbitrum without being exposed to any of the third-party protocol risk is a way that someone like myself could long-term align with Arbitrum, have more voting power and influence, and that also is like a catalyst to get more delegate, votes. Like if someone like me signals like, yeah, I just, market bought 200K and I locked it for 4 years, and I go on like a big lobbying thing, it might catch some eyes. So there's an argument to be made that someone who didn't have the advantage, or I don't want to say advantage, right? Who didn't take advantage of the opportunity to position themselves in the very beginning. It gives them an avenue to with less risk, quote unquote, to acquire some of that delegate power.
Yeah, fair. There's actually Cadden from Seed Latam has a few different ideas out there. I think Disruption Joe has a few different ideas out there too that have not quite reached snapshot, but are kind of early stage, but exploring this different avenues, right? So one of them is around either paying delegates to, perform value-added tasks, right? Because right now, we have a reason to be involved with this because we're a project building on Arbitrum. We have, the most to gain and the most to lose. However, there are some large delegates that maybe don't have that same, bet, I guess, right? So they're kind of just acting as a neutral third party who is in best position to make educated decisions. And so going through 100 proposals in a 2-week period is pretty much a full-time job. If you were to do that, look at them in detail and compare them against each other and do the proper due diligence, especially if you are not keen or acquainted with all of these 100 projects, right? In which I can't say that, you know, even us, I'd say that there were probably half the projects that I was maybe aware of, but not to the intricate nature of the other 50. But
Totally.
there were probably at least 20 that I had just never even heard of, right? And so I get that part. And so some of the things that looking into like the paid delegate positions is maybe we do with a trial of like 3 different tiers based on different levels of Arbitrum that you have delegated to you. These are paid positions. And then also as part of this is that you have a certain amount of Arbitrum that you have locked up, essentially an escrow, kind of signaling your dedication to the space as an individual. And so this like pledge, excuse me, sorry, it makes sense to me to do this like sort of held in escrow kind of model. And then if you were to do anything that was in poor taste, then maybe you get slashed, like, but at least you can show your commitment and then get yourself in front of other other people that you have varying levels of delegation, but then maybe they'll see that you're making a value add and an impact into the group, and then other people will continue to delegate to you going forward, right? And I think that this is like a pretty opportune time. The STIP period is a pretty opportune time to kind of gain some of that, outsized capture of the 50 million new tokens that are going to be coming into the market. And so there's a few different models on how that kind of works, but I think that is a good like first step of creating a process in which that redelegation can happen, because historically redelegation is non-existent in all of like Web3 and all of crypto.
Yeah.
So this would be the first like successful redelegation. Optimism has their badge holders, those are paid positions. That is kind of like they're kind of the stewards. I think their delegates to a certain regard are paid as well. There's like a few different models on paying to continue to work in the ecosystem, and then the expectation is that you're like slowly growing your economic interests as well into the group. And then if you need to sell to, if you're spending so much time doing this, then you probably have to pay. You'll need some sort of income to pay for your real world costs, your normie costs. So that makes sense. And then again, at least gives you gives additional people platforms that they may not have today. So I think they're trying to solve for it. But like there's a shit ton going on in Arbitrum land, dude. It's fun and a circus at the same time.
It's the new frontier, the Wild West.
Look, I don't want to call them out. Some of the homies are bearish mid long-term Arbitrum. I'm gonna have to take the opposite side of that coin.
I can't.
Just sell me all your Arbitrum at $3 or whatever it is, and fuck off.
Yeah, maybe not $3, because right now it's like $1.15.
Yeah, $1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sell me all your Arbitrum at
99
cents.
Yeah.
The reason that people I think are bearish is because we're about to have like a 1 billion unlock in 5 months in March.
Bullish unlock.
Bullish unlocks. Yeah. Come on, guys.
Bullish unlock season. They weren't around last time. They don't know about the bullish unlock.
Yeah, it's not like it's new, guys. You can read about it on Wikipedia.
Yeah, just Google search bullish unlock.
But I think let's double check this. But when I was looking the other day, yeah, dude, fucking Arbitrum's doing like 3/4 of a bill in volume a day. So yeah, they're at 795 for today. So they're putting up some good volume numbers, that's for sure. Yes. So who knows? I mean, I don't think that all 1 billion is going to sell. And maybe over time, if you have continuous, if you get like a Uniswap type of functionality where it's all net extraction, then there's no reason to hold the token. But we'll see what happens. if you think about it, the market cap right now is 1.4, fully diluted is 11. You know, Ethereum is what, fully diluted 250.
And that's not ultrasound money, you know.
You can't
I think
technically count
Arbitrum
those
has a new
multis
like
outs.
narrative, right? People are now coming to Arbitrum to build cool shit and work on cool shit, and there's a lively community over here on Arbitrum that I think a lot of people are missing out on. Like, I don't know. I say this every fucking time. I don't know one optimism dev, not one.
I know the guys at Lyra and the aerodrome guy or velodrome guys. There's no like shortage of good developers on Optimism. I think it's more. I really think it was more like the the initial like catalyst of builders, like, and the way they kind of set it up. So we talked about it before, but in the very beginning, Arbitrum was just open to build on. With Optimism, there was like a whitelisting process. You kind of had to get approved to get on testnet and start doing things. So it wasn't as it was a bit more cumbersome than just getting set up and deploying on Arbitrum. I think that caused a lot of newer DeFi projects and a lot of the ones that were kind of in the like ideation stage to choose Arbitrum. And now you have, it seems as if you have significantly more DeFi focused projects that are on Arbitrum, or at least they get more attention on Arbitrum. And I think it largely stems from the very beginning.
And even though that we sometimes have not qualms, but maybe complaints about support as projects on Arbitrum. And I wouldn't necessarily even say they're complaints. It's more of like, a lot of projects like ourselves are just needy and right, like they're not giving us all the need that we want, all the attention that we're looking for. The amount of attention that the off-chain labs group and the access that you get is 10x what you get on Optimism, right? Like they weren't like, Optimism wasn't trying to help you out, wasn't trying to support you, wasn't like, and I can tell you from like the governance process of when we went through that Optimism grant last year, was like, I did all of the stuff on their forums. I did the proposal on their forums, and it was pretty much only communication on their forums. And then like the communication that I have with in terms of like the Optimism Foundation or DAO representatives were all pretty like super transactional and difficult to get a hold of. And sometimes I would like ask questions and it'd be like weeks, or if no response at all. And then they only would reach out to me if they needed something from me. And there's like no support there really, right? And so, whereas the Arbitrum ecosystem is completely different. Like the builder cohort is, we're like super, what's the right word? We're like this is our land. Like this is our tribe. So like we're super defensive. We join together. We're super supportive of each other, and we have access to off-chain and foundation people as as much and as little as we want. We're not ignored, and so I think that's just like from a feeling wanted perspective, it's completely night and day, right? So that was our experience, at least. I don't know if you're like a large scale project and you get like whatever you want on Optimism,
Yeah, if you're
but
fucking
that wasn't the case for
OpenSea,
us.
if you're OpenSea or Coinbase, it's a bit different. But you're little
Yeah,
old
but I
us.
mean, who's going to be the next big, group building in your space, right? Like,
Yeah, I
you
don't
shouldn't
disagree with you.
pick favorites and ignore them until they've reached a critical mass, because they're not going to reach critical mass there because they feel neglected by you, right? It's a pretty simple,
Yeah, you don't want to.
just
You don't want
relationship
to.
management. It's super simple.
You don't
Yeah,
want
they're
to
just
only
giving
cater to
nothing and
the.
taking everything.
They just
Well,
don't
it's
care
like,
about you, right? And they're like, why should I build here then?
yeah, it's like taking care of the pre-established unicorns because like that is, those are the names. I've kind of talked about that before. Like, you know, a lot of people from the outside will just see the names that they respect, so they think like, oh yeah, that was a good thing. This was a good deal, you know, for them to make. Look at this huge project they're partnering with. But like, we'll say OpenSea for instance. Like OpenSea has been like kind of the butt of the joke for a long time because they uh, seem to do everything opposite of what their users want and like could give two shits about the people that are using their platform. Coming
Yeah,
from
I think
someone
I mean
who
they're
Whatever
focused on like
competitors
the
never,
will come up,
larger.
right?
They're
Yeah.
look,
focused
they
on the
banned tons of my
Coinbases.
accounts. I fucking hate OpenSea.
I mean, they just laid off 50% of their staff, dude. Is there
Yeah,
anyone
good
left
luck with
over
that
there? I
backfunding
don't know.
thing. Yeah. Is
I
this
don't
thing
know.
on? If you can hear us, call us, you know?
They clearly don't want people trading there anymore. I have the last account of mine that they banned has like done nothing but trade NFTs. Never like interacted with Tornado pre sanction stuff. Never like did anything, you know, that could be misconstrued as
You
potentially.
sold too fast, so they didn't like you.
That's 100% what happened. I
You made
was
the
just
price go
like,
down, and they make less money if the price go down, so they don't like you.
I was
Yeah.
done holding a ton of NFTs. I was like, you know what? I only want the ones that are like for sure high value that are like not going anywhere. So I sold like 95% of my NFTs. And when I was doing it that day, I was just accepting bids. Like I just did not care. I'm like, oh, how close to floor is it? Oh, within 10%. All right, cool. Accept. And uh, I sold a good amount of NFT, like, you know, value wise. And I refreshed the page after like doing some work, and it said I was blocked. And they weren't gonna unlock my account unless I KYC'd with them. So I just had to use other other
Oh,
NFT
is that because they're like
exchanges
a
to keep
fucking
myself like
honeypot? Like, is it
they're
because like
totally a
if you do
honeypot, dude.
over
Yep.
if you do over whatever, I don't know, 100 50, whatever number it is, oh, this could be, you know, washing some funds. Is that kind of where they're coming from, or are they
I
just, you
definitely
know,
think that
idiots?
what I think is that one
They're
of
going to
two
report to the
things.
IRS.
That's one of them, and the other one being that the way that I was selling NFTs is like the activity that they saw on chain is very parallel to if someone were to have been exploited, right? Because I was just like mass accepting bids. So unfortunately,
I
because
exploited
of
myself.
unfortunately because of the Bored Apes,
He was rage
um,
selling.
Uh-huh.
yeah, literally was rage selling. I was just like, God, I fucking hate all these things, and I was just slamming the bid button or slamming the accept button. Um, yeah, so like I'd understand if they outlined that it was you know, due to activity that seemed as if I'd been exploited, but they wouldn't give me like a reason. They wouldn't tell me like what was suspicious about the activity or what was unusual about the activity.
What
Refused
do
to
they
go into
think they are? A
detail.
bank? Can't just shut down accounts and without giving
All right.
reason.
But I do want to talk about the Coinbase KYC. I think they referred to it as attestation yesterday. Did you guys see this?
Mm.
No,
No,
tell
no,
me
no.
about it.
What happened? I don't
Okay.
trade on that shite.
So attestation is something that's been pushed in the optimism community quite significantly. Essentially,
Oh,
it
I
is
saw
that
this. Go ahead though. Yep.
yeah, it's
Oh, I
essentially
don't know
that
about
you
it.
can. It's just a way on chain to attest something, right? And so
Mm.
the EAS, which is like Ethereum attestation station or whatever, has its own optimism thing. It's essentially a way that a wallet can like sign something, right? A formal payload that says something, right? And you can say like, you know, Marty and I met in real life and we both attest to it. And then it's on chain that we met in real life and you have that on chain, whatever, right? And so those are like the little cutesy things that you can do with attestation. And what Coinbase released yesterday is they allow you to link your Coinbase KYC exchange account to your DeFi wallets. So it will say that you have been KYC'd and it will say your country of domicile when you attest. So essentially what it's created is a on-chain KYC system that they're like, you know, when you attest, you'll have access to exclusive things on base chain. And we're like, this just sounds like KYC. It just sounds like you're KYCing me.
Yeah, let's give you some incentive to give your eyeball. Let's give you fucking $40. Let's go to all the third world countries and pay everybody $20 to get scans of their eyeballs. It's like the WorldCoin shit. Yeah, it's just this fucking OFAC shit. We've been talking about it for a while. It's
Vinny
not going to
Lingham
get any
absolutely
better.
seething right now.
Dude, I saw this and I was like, exclusive access. I'm like,
This OnlyFans for fucking Brian Armstrong?
Do you know who Vinny Lingham is?
Is that the cowboy guy?
No, I want to say he might be South African, but he founded a protocol back in like the ICO days called Civic, and Civic was all about like on-chain identity document verification. So you could create this Civic ID that had like, you know, your passport or your license, you know, your personal identification, medical information, whatever it may be. And you could selectively choose, you know, which of that information you shared with different vendors or third parties.
Got it.
So one of the use cases that they were showcasing back in the day was like liquor vending machine, right? Or like cigarette vending machine. How now you could pay, you know, with your phone, with crypto, using your Civic ID. They could verify your age, you know, at the time of you purchasing.
Fucking take your mom's phone, dude.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, obviously, you like take your mom's phone and scan her face, you know, real quick.
That's how they solve it in China. They just do facial recognition.
Yeah.
I'm
but
all
you know,
for it, dude.
he was all, this was his thing, you know, this on-chain ID verification. That was like his thing fucking 5 years ago. And I don't know what he's working on now, but I don't think Civic's alive anymore.
No, I mean, this is the same thing that Fractal does. This is the same process that we had to do to get the Arbitrum grant, right? Is we did KYB, know your business, and we did all of this documentation and like KYC at the UBO level and director level and multi-sig signer level. And
know your bitches.
And essentially, we release that information. We can choose who has access to that, and so you release it to Arbitrum Foundation. Arbitrum Foundation is actually a lot more traditional business than the optimism side of things, which is interesting. But I mean, you do what you got to do. And so that's how Fractal works. And like this service provider framework that I'm working on is going to have to go through that Fractal process as well. So we're about to see some like real DID use cases, right? Because like it's been bullish on DID for a while, but I don't think there's really been any real need for it, and most people have been kind of opposed to it unless you have to, with some of the Uniswap stuff, and with what you see Coinbase doing. Is that the future?
Where does this end?
Yeah,
where does this end?
I don't know.
Like,
you see, Marty,
like,
that's my angle. You know, I hate I hate that we give them these inches, right? And like we celebrate it, and everyone's like, "Oh, look at this cool thing they're doing!" Like, no.
Turns into a foot.
Yeah, like where I miss, and I need to know where all of the like did all the true crypto people, did they leave after last cycle? Like,
no, they got
just
murdered.
have all these like institutional like traditional like I just don't know where all of these like where all of these regulation loving like bootlicking redacteds showed up from, got into positions of power, and are now like pushing that we need KYB for everything. That like this is fucking crypto. Well, I'm not supposed to. The whole point of this was to build a system outside of what existed before. Like, and now
they're gonna blame it on something dumb. They're gonna blame it on North Korea, or they were like trying to say like Hamas funneled like I don't know like a couple $100,000 or something, and I was like.
Nick
that's
Carter
like 2 missiles, bro.
Tirade.
That's like 2 fucking missiles, bro. Like, who cares about $200,000? What
like
about how did the trucks come through? How do all the tools come through? How do all that shit, get through this, supposedly, protected or exiled community or country. It's just like super lame. I'm totally in to give something. There has to be some middle, but it's not like, oh, here's my address, here's my social security or my tax ID here in
There
Brazil.
already is a
Like there has to
middle.
be
When the
what's the
money
middle?
is exchanged and it comes to my bank, I have to pay taxes on that. That is the
That's the
middle
middle.
ground.
Yeah,
The
I don't
fact that
think
I'm
the
paying this tax
KYC,
is the
like
middle
on the
ground.
individual level, I'm like, yeah, what is too far? But if you're doing a B2B relationship, then I'm more okay with it.
Yeah,
But yeah,
because go and
you got
find
to
out
stand
who
your ground
fucking
somewhere. You got to
owns
stand your
the
ground
Cayman
somewhere.
company, you know? Go find out who
Yeah,
owns
yeah,
the
yeah.
Cayman company. Yeah, yeah, good luck, right? But yeah, like personal, I don't know. I live in this weird world where here in Brazil it's all open and free to trade, and if you trade on an exchange, they already know how much you owe. Unlike the IRS is like kind of figure it out. You know, you have to figure it out on yourself. They
They
know,
know
but
what
you have
you
to figure it
owe.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
they
you have
just
to
want to
figure it out.
penalize
If
you.
you're wrong, and if you're wrong, then you get in trouble. Yeah, that's a little silly, right? Um, yeah, I live here and we're pretty open. Like, I don't know. We have like I think I said earlier, we have the social security number, but it's not as private. We use it for like phone numbers and grocery store discounts and all this shit. And I'm totally okay with getting that out, right? I don't care. Nobody's gonna open up a credit card in my name with that info. I'm totally, but like I don't know. Sometimes I just want to fucking sling some balls, And I don't know if I wanted to donate to some charity or some cause. I don't want a fucking name attached to that. That's kind of where
Yep.
I am. Like, if I donated to something, I don't want my name attached to that
Yeah,
donation or my face. Or
I
that's why I
had
don't have an
to
e-mask or anything.
find out a roundabout way to do some donations in my area, and like, you just like um there
Like
are
for me,
ways
it's
that you can
better
do
just to
things, but
send a
it's like,
fucking wire.
yeah, like it's way easier to do that in theory, but depending on the size of it, then the bank may decide that it's too much money for you to be sending, or they don't know who you sent it to, so now they're holding your money for 2 weeks while they do all their checks. My
Well, no,
issue is like,
while they collect interest on it.
yeah, like, um if we go with the belief, which is true, that uh, income tax is illegal, um, and that it's voluntary, then I should be able to choose like what I'm paying for, how much
Dude,
tax
just
I
move to
get,
Argentina, bro.
and
Nobody
that's
pays
why I
taxes.
believe that. Well, that's why I believe that the middle ground is that I'm agreeing to pay tax on this, right? Like, I shouldn't have to do anything else. If I'm paying you some tax on the money that I'm making, and I pay more than the amount that I should, personally, then like I shouldn't have to do anything else. There shouldn't be any other fucking like hurdles that I have to go through. I've already submitted to doing something for you, and like bending our system over backwards just so it can work better with some archaic uh, institutional system that fucking 85-year-old people who are like decrepit and rotting in their seats are still running. Yeah, like I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I think I'm anti Coinbase being a publicly listed company and then offering this product. Maybe I'm an idiot and I didn't read into it if it's international only and not US, but my first initial thoughts are I'm against a US listed company offering on chain KYC to get OnlyFan perks on base. If I had to put it into a run on sentence.
Yeah, that's my rant. I'm very we'll say libertarian at heart when it comes to like my personal freedoms, taxes and stuff like that.
I'm
So
not a
I
libertarian when it comes to my Amex, like I need to still pay bills, but I'm totally free and open and totally into privacy in terms of financial privacy. Like I could never live in fucking where's that, Sweden, where your tax
yeah,
records are public. Yeah, I could never do that.
yeah.
That's
Fuck
insane.
that.
That's insanity. Yeah. No.
Did we talk about that earlier in the week about what had happened to those guys?
Well,
I
guys,
I don't
read
know
a
if we
little
did,
blip about it. In
but
Sweden, they got fucking
yeah,
robbed because all their taxes are public.
it's
You just
happened a
go
oh,
few
online with their
times.
name.
Yeah, it's happened a few
Yeah.
times, and what it is like a lot of times they're in the past and this recent one, they've been podcasters or YouTubers that have shows and they talk about Bitcoin and crypto, and exactly what Marty said, because their address and tax records are public, anyone can then go and see them and go, oh, they have a Bitcoin podcast. I wonder how much tax they paid last year and what neighborhood they live in. Oh, they live in a nice neighborhood. They paid a good amount of tax. They probably have a lot
Let's
of
show
money,
up.
and yeah, they've been like tying them up, beating people, to make them give them their coins, and that is like a like real life example of why I've been such a proponent for pseudo anonymity or just anonymity when you work in this industry. Like, when you look at, we'll look at America, right? Where like the majority of, at least like the outside world, like sees that like we're burning, that society is falling, right? So like if you feel that society has fallen or is falling, why the hell would you want the people who are struggling to pay, their rent, who are on their second mortgage, who can't drive because the car that they've had for the last 10 years broke down and they can't pay to fix it? Why do you want them knowing that you just sold two monkey pictures for hundreds of thousands of dollars? Like, I can't fathom why anyone would want that public and out there, or to want people to know that like they are the person that did that. It's just like, I don't know. I think like you've been sheltered, or you don't know what the real world's like, if those are
Yeah,
activities
we
you want
put
to
people in
engage in.
suitcases out here, like there's a dude in
Yeah, I mean,
Argentina
I don't
fucking
think what
chopped
you're
up in a
arguing
suitcase.
is contentious.
Oh, thanks.
I don't I don't think anyone does want those things public.
No, of course they don't want those things, but a lot of people don't think that it's an issue. They think nobody's gonna come for me. Nobody's gonna come find me. Like there are 10,000 bored apes in the public. Why would anyone come for me? Because they
Oh,
know
I
that I'll
ran
save
all
them.
those scenarios through my head already, bro. Already.
Dude, I know of people that, for $1,000 would come for people. Like they're
Oh, less.
disillusioned if they think that, hundreds of thousands of dollars and you being an easy target isn't appetizing to people in your area.
People are just dumb,
Um,
bro. Can't fix stupid,
yeah, I shared
Mhm.
a tweet of some. It was like an NBC reporter quote tweeting like a CNBC person, and it was like something about some high percentage of millennials had like over 100,000 in savings, and this NBC reporter like quoted it like, where if I knew any of my friends had close to $100,000, I would rob them myself, and like he may be joking, right? Like he may be a joke, but that is the reality of it. There are plenty of people with normal jobs that aren't like hurting the way you think that someone needs to be hurting to come and take money from you. And like they're going to come do it because you don't know anyone's personal situation. You don't know if their mom just got, some rare kind of cancer and, they can't afford any treatments or insurance isn't going to cover it and they need that
People get
100
desperate,
grand.
bro.
Like,
Fast.
yeah, you have no idea like what desperation will do to a human. Um, so yeah, I've always been like,
What a human would do for an ape. You don't know that desperation.
yeah. That's just always been my argument when people try to put that, oh well, you're anonymous or you're pseudonymous because you're doing something wrong. And it's like you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing what anyone who is dealing with uh, any significant amount of money should be doing if they're interacting with strangers on the internet.
Yeah, I like
Like,
going outside and nobody knows who I am. Like I could just walk around and like nobody gives a fuck about me, right? And if I have to go outside and somebody's like, "Oh, that's so and so," or even if they're like, "Hey, can I take a picture?" No,
that's the
definitely
greatest
not.
vol seller of 23, Marty.
Yeah, didn't you know? Yeah, I'm out. I'll gladly meet anybody in person. I'll
In
gladly
fucking
show up to
Brazil.
events. No, like there's some conferences and there's some things, and I go as myself. I don't introduce as the crypto persona, right? But then some people put it together, right? The hats or whatever, right? Some people put it together, and that's totally okay. I have no problem signing documents. I have no problem, KYB. That's totally okay for me. But I'm good showing
Totally.
my face. So, yeah, no problem. I'm good. Sorry, not
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. I'm with you, DK. Like the B2B stuff, I've never really had a problem with. For me, it's always just like on that, it's more of like the retention, like where is this going, who's holding it, uh, you know, where is the
Dude, I had my
potential leak?
lawyer was like, send me an email with you and your face, or your face, of course it's you, your face next to your passport. And I was like, dude, I'm not doing that. I'll video you, something like this, but I'm not sending it in a fucking email, unsecured email. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. Anyways, welcome to the show. Welcome
They're
to the
used to their
garden.
70-year-old. They're used to their 65, 70-year-old counterparties. You know, who are just now in tune with, you know, email as a part of their workflow, emailing them everything.
Dude, my
No more
grandma still
fax,
has
Marty.
AOL. She
No
still
more
has AOL,
faxing.
bro.
They're emailing now.
Oh, dude, somebody did want me to fax something.
I
I'm
know
not
you're
faxing shit,
talking
bro.
about.
Dude, we still
Where
have
am I? Where do I
one
get a
of our
fax?
one of our legal entities still requires that we send all like original documents, even if like the original document is signed via DocuSign. So like, so yeah, like our lawyer, I think like prints the documents and then
Oh,
sends
there's
them
boxes.
sends them
Yeah,
to
like
the
all this
offshore.
White House shit, right? I don't know. Let's just, like Trump brought documents to his house or Biden brought documents. Why, bro? Just get that motherfucker an iPad, bro.
Dude,
Put it
don't they
on the
have an
fucking
iPad for
cloud.
that stuff?
Yeah, put it locally, put it on the cloud. The White House doesn't have the White House cloud. Come on.
I mean, we
You
got
have
old
to
timers. I
carry
don't know if they can
physical
even read
boxes.
screens, dude. Let's be
I
honest.
really don't know. I mean, yeah, look at the
Yeah.
guy that you're expecting to retrieve things from the cloud. He can't even, he can't even walk
Doesn't
himself
even know
off
where
a
he
He's
is,
cliff.
probably
bro. Doesn't even know
he's
where he
out there
is.
yelling at the cloud all day, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the clouds, bro.
Yeah. So the cloud, it's cloudy up there.
How's
A
the
lot of info
weather?
I can't find.
Fucking idiot.
All right,
That
last
guy,
thing I want to
Jesus
touch on
Christ.
before we close this out, Marty, what are your thoughts on this BlackRock ETF filing? It sparked
I
some
think it's
panic.
all another tool. It's all another
I know
tool
you.
to
I know
trade.
you hate ETF talk, but the Solana manlets got a little taste of their own medicine with ETH coming back. They were not thinking ETH was
I
ever
think
doing
Solana
anything.
ETF is next. No, I just think you're gonna get all of these. Let's just keep it simple. CMEs list other futures, then you have other futures products listed. Then somebody comes along and is like, oh, we're gonna need a fucking Solana spot ETF. It's just gonna be more tools in the toolbox that allow more people to access the ecosystem, which I'm all good for. What I'm not good for is fucking Coinbase putting their link in their bio for fucking base, perks. I'm good with all that. I'm totally cool for everybody to have more access to trade these products. I think it's great. For the current time being, it seems a little too hyped. I'll gladly trade 30 to 40 than whatever the fuck we were doing the last couple months. People keep forgetting we're up like 100 something, 120% or something on the year, and people's portfolios are at all time lows. So I still feel those people have to fucking FOMO in. If any more dry powder that they have, they're gonna come in. I think we have to see the real flows after the ETF launch or ETFs launch, depending on timing. Of course, it's going to be opium in the beginning. When we actually see the real flows, we'll see if this is a product that people actually want to fucking trade. I they'll trade it in hype cycles, risk assets, sure, but will they continue to trade it, and will it be just I don't know. Oh, you're gonna see in their filings, oh, this fund bought this ETF. I'm just waiting for those fucking Threadadors to come out. Didn't you see that every fund has blah blah blah? Okay, yeah, whatever. But let's
Adam
see the real
Patton's
flows and
whinging on
and
himself.
yeah, God, that Adam guy just fucking coming in his pants. Like, we'll see the real flows, and I'm all good after we see the flows. Until then, just ride the wave and
The
all good
earliest
there.
we'll really see that is what, like April.
January is what I'm hearing. Galaxy said January.
Well, January is yeah. I still hold true. We've been talking about this for like 5 months. I still hold true. I think that January is when it gets approved. The ETH thing is interesting because do they approve
Oh, ETH
ETH
is
and
different. Yeah.
BTC? But yeah, the ETF approved in January. But when we see it, if it's hitting balance sheets or not, would probably be the first quarterly, right? So like
Yeah,
so like
first
April.
quarterly. And then you have something interesting there that options start getting put up on these tickers, so that will be interesting flows to watch.
Yeah.
That will all be very interesting to watch. I don't know. Do we hit 50? Do we hit 100K? Sure, great. I'll fuck off if we hit 100K, but I don't know. It just feels like we're building into something not
If we get
amazing. And with
100K, I'll have a
I'm
medium-sized house.
just go to
Me
Brazil,
too,
bro.
man.
You get a fucking whatever you want. No, like you're seeing vol handles like 50s, 60s. That's not anything crazy. Like 70s, 80s would be better. You know, we start getting into hundreds. Like that's when shit's fucking going off. Like you would think that we'd be higher, but shit's not going off, you know? Like I gotta look at realized vol, but I think it's like 10 handles under or something. Last time I looked last night. Like I don't know. The basis trade is coming back. All this froth is now coming back. I'm all for it. Let's ride the fucking wave. But fuck,
Let's
with
get it.
fucking devols, vols just at fucking 50s and 60s. Like you'd think we're fucking gonna be at 90K tomorrow, and we're not.
You need to stop writing call options. I play that much.
Yeah, I
Doing
do.
much calls actually. I actually started nibbling. I had this butterfly that hit in October that was a 10x. I had some call spreads yesterday, or like I've been buying these, right? But I closed them out yesterday for my December. I think I'm pretty much done for the year, bro. I got to go to like my mother-in-law's house. I got to be traveling. I got to, this fucking window in my house still isn't fixed, Cozy. It's been fucking 3 weeks. They still haven't fixed that shit. I have some real life priorities. And I'm pretty much out. I'm all spot bags, sure, but wow. Until the beginning of the year.
My bathroom's still getting worked on. The guy took a little break. He's got a home down in Florida that he needed to go tend to for a few weeks, and then he
just
comes
sounds like
back.
a vacation, bro.
Yeah, he's going on a little vacay. He come back. He'll do. I think he's got like another mirror to put up, some lighting, and then paint, and we're done. He's got some closets to fix. Yeah, there we go. And chandelier.
It's never ending when you're the homeowner.
Yeah, the thing is, like like I was saying, I need a medium-sized house. I still have a small house.
Yeah, but like what square foot? Like what are we talking about
here? Like 2,900, I think.
Yeah, I have like a 3,000 square foot apartment, me and my wife, and I'm like, dude, I'm fucking got too much floor space, dude. I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
The cleaner comes like,
you know what I mean?
Fuck no, dude. I'm a stay-at-home dad with no kids, bro. I'm good.
Yeah, see, I've got rambunctious,
and I have no animals,
and 2 boys. So
and a wife. That's a lot of people. Yeah, you need 3K square foot.
Yeah, we need bigger. She wants 6.
That dude. I have 3, and the fucking maid comes once a week and does a deep clean, and it's dirty in like 3 days. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Imagine animals and kids.
It's 3 now.
I'm a single guy, and I got like 25, maybe 24, and my parents are like, you should downsize. I'm like, what are you kidding me? I already used up all my space.
I need more space.
I need more space, dude. I converted my basement to a science lab. Why does a human need a science lab in the basement? I don't know.
Will Smith, bro. Yeah. Will Smith.
More like I'm trying to think what the movie's called.
I Am Legend.
No, there's this movie about these people that go to they think they're gonna go to some festival in Europe, but they end up.
Oh, Hostel.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Hostel.
My basement's kind of
like
Hostel. Yeah, that's fair.
What are you doing there? You're actually.
Well, have you ever seen the movie Saw?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his is more like Saw. That's what his basement kind of runs.
This is more like an escape room, It's like the soft version of Saw.
Mine has a bunch of children toys, and then I have a whole wall that's dedicated to Nerf guns. You may have seen it on. I didn't post it on Reddit. I posted it on Twitter, but I found it on Reddit. People using it.
People love that, dude. So, did you ever get into like airsoft and paintball and all that shit?
Not paintball. We've gone paintballing a few times. Like I was really into it when I was a kid, but now older, I've only gone a couple times. Regular guns,
Yeah, real
Regular
guns.
guns and Nerf guns is more up our alley.
Love that. Love that.
Oh,
Got a lot of
all right, guys.
surfboards. That's about it. Later, pimps.
Yeah, I don't surf anymore where I'm at. I think there's one guy that does it. Like out here when starts getting a bit colder, and like I don't know why. I don't even know how you would. Like there's not really areas to surf on the lake.
You ever see that
Um,
Jesus Christ, tarp surfing? They fucking skate through like the 100-foot blue tarps. You're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
"Come
I've
on,
seen
guys.
that.
Come on, guys.
They need to
Come
surf
on."
that bad that they put
Yeah,
down plastic.
yeah, yeah. Classic, classic.
Too
All right,
funny.
pimps. I'm gonna
All
make
right,
a
guys.
coffee.
Yep, it's been fun. I've got today we'll be putting up 2 videos, so we'll have this one go live on YouTube and everywhere else. I'll also be posting our Sanko interview we had last night with Blaze Bison and Dew. We'll be streaming all of these now live to Twitter, Twitch, as well as Sanko TV. So if you are
MySpace.
a Arbitrum, no, dude, have you used Sanko yet? Have you checked that out? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, dude, I'm a little bit retarded.
All
No,
right, it's just like we'll keep it plain and simple. It's just like a crypto Arbitrum native Twitch.
I'm in. I'm
So
in.
yeah, now we're broadcasting there too. I'll send you a thing so you can sign up if you want to stream yourself there.
Yeah.
But
Let
thanks
me
everyone for
ref link
joining.
me.
I'll ref link you, baby. It's been great. Oh, I'll catch you later, e boys, e girls.
Later, pimps.
Adios. Have a good weekend.